Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into this absolutely incredible story of human ingenuity, and it's all happening in one of the world's harshest environments.
So, how do you turn a desert green? I mean, it sounds like an impossible riddle, doesn't it? But believe it or not, it's a question with a very real and very green answer out in northwest India's Thar Desert.
All right, to really get a sense of just how remarkable this is, think about this number, 25 million. That's how many people live in the Thar Desert. It's actually the most densely populated desert on the entire planet. So, this isn't some empty, barren landscape. It's a bustling, vibrant region that's also facing some pretty extreme challenges. And that right there brings us to the core mystery, this kind of paradox we're exploring today. In one of the hottest places in the world, these communities, they haven't just found a way to survive. No, they've created a thriving agricultural system, and they've done it by brilliantly managing this tiny, tiny amount of rainfall.
So, let's get into it. Let's really unpack how they've managed to pull off this incredible paradox.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. We'll look at the perfectly placed pond, then how every farm becomes a reservoir, and then water harvesting right at home. And finally, we'll see the amazing ripple effect all of this has.
All right, first up, the perfectly placed pond. This is all about community-scale water security. Let's dive in, because this is really the foundation of the whole system.
Okay, now this is where things get really interesting, because their main method seems to fly in the face of all common sense, right? You'd think, in a hot desert, the last thing you'd want is a huge open pond where all the water just evaporates. The usual wisdom is to get that water underground fast. But here, they do the exact opposite.
So why does it work? Well, it all comes down to the local conditions. First off, the groundwater. It's way too salty to use for drinking or for crops. And second, the rain. It doesn't just drizzle. It comes all at once in maybe 1 or 2 massive, intense monsoon downpours a year. So you've got this huge rush of water flowing across the land for a very short time. And these big, smartly placed ponds are really the only way to catch it all.
And the impact, it's immediate and it's life-changing. I mean, think about it. Before a pond like this was built, the nearest major water source was a 10-kilometer trek, a 10-kilometer walk for water. Now, the villagers and their animals have a permanent water source right there, in their own community.
Okay, but the genius of this system doesn't just stop at the edge of the pond. It actually flows right into the farms themselves. Let's take a look.
Yeah, this quote really nails it. Each field is like its own shallow rainwater collection pond. The farm fields themselves become a part of the water storage system. It's brilliant.
So here's how it works. The farmers have created this super smart cascade system. During a monsoon, when that main community pond gets full, it's designed to overflow right into the first farm field. That field is surrounded by a raised wall, a berm, so it fills up just like a big, shallow basin. And once that's full, a little spillway directs the water to the next field, and then the next, and so on. It's like this chain reaction of hydration.
But it's not just about moving water around, it's also about managing the land itself. So along those earthen walls, those berms, they plant these specific, really hardy trees. This creates what's known as an agroforestry system, basically integrating trees right into the farms.
And these aren't just any trees, they're like these multi-purpose powerhouses. They give fodder for animals, their roots hold the soil together and stop it from washing away. They provide food for people, and of course they offer firewood and much-needed shade from that blistering sun.
All right, so we've gone from the big community pond down to the individual farm. Now let's scale it down one more time to the most personal level, the household. This is where we see the third key technique.
And this is so important, because having water right at home creates this profound social change. See, traditionally, the job of getting water falls to women and girls. They might have to walk for hours every single day. But when a home has its own water source, all that time is freed up. And that means girls can go to school, they can get an education. So how do they do it? With something called a tanka. It's basically an underground cistern. It holds around 20,000 liters, and it collects that precious rainwater from a rooftop or even just a small, sloped bit of ground. And get this, a single good fill-up during the monsoon can give a family water for more than 5 months.
And, this isn't some newfangled invention. The modern tanka is really just an evolution of ancient techniques that have worked here for centuries. I mean, archaeologists have found these massive 300,000-liter reservoirs carved right into the bedrock by past generations. It just goes to show you these principles are time-tested and deeply, deeply understood.
Okay, so for our final piece, let's talk about the organization that's helping to bring back and scale up these solutions, and the absolutely incredible results of their work.
So the driving force behind a lot of this is an NGO called Gravis. For more than 40 years, they have been on the ground working with villagers to build new ponds, install tankas, and bring old systems back to life. Their impact has been so profound. I mean, after all this time, their work is so vast that the greening of the desert is literally visible from space. Think about that.
And the result of all this work? It's not just about having water to drink. It's about building real comprehensive resilience. See, when you have water security, that leads to food security. And when you have both of those, you create climate resilience. That means these communities are better able to handle the shocks of a changing world.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's really a powerful message of hope. This story is proof. It proves that it is absolutely possible to create thriving, resilient communities by working with nature, not against it, even in the most extreme conditions you could imagine.
And that really leaves us with one last thing to think about. If this level of ingenuity, this kind of adaptation, is possible in the middle of a desert, what lessons can we learn from that? What solutions can we apply to build more resilient communities right where we all live?